say they're getting good ratings. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but.
Yeah.
Wait, are you just getting signed there?
Yeah.
You're not getting any.
No. Just the sign.
Thanks.
Can you show us more?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what you're referring to.
Hey, Raphael.
We were down on the other side. This is my first time over here.
There's already close-ups over here that I could possibly share.
Get him on PDF 1 and give him a disregard.
Shut up. Yeah.
No, we're not getting this guy out.
How close can I go to take a picture? Tell me when you're done. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you doing?
I need everybody to kind of stay to the right of my car if possible. Okay. How to stick to the right of this car. It's not. What? Dog show. Jim's not liking the dog show.
possibly have known. There's no way
I
you're
understand
not
that, but
psychic.
you know what? Nobody deserves to kill someone. It's upsetting. It just really is. We're not used to that out here.
Nobody deserves to die like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not used to that out here. This is.
I'm with AP. We're both from AP. All right, great. So you're all in focus there. So go ahead and tell. First of all, if you could, just so we have it on the tape, can you say and spell your name for me?
My name is Gustav Coletti. Coletti.
Now bring us back to May 1st. What happened?
Oh, around 4:45 in the morning, somebody on my deck next to at my house was screaming and banging on the door. I opened the door and they stepped in and she says, help me, they're after me. And I said, I'll call the police. And she said, no, don't do it. With that, when I picked up the phone and dialed 911, she took off. She took off down the steps and she started running towards the side of the house and she ran into the weeds. And she came back out and she was banging on the neighbor's door and they didn't answer. And then a car was coming down the road slowly but surely, and he would stop and it would come a little bit further and he'd stop, and they're obviously looking for somebody. So she then bolted out of the weeds and she came around the front of the house and hid by my boat. I got down off the deck and I went over and I stopped him when he got to my house and I asked him what he was doing. And he said we had a party down at Brewer's house, and this girl got upset and left. And he says, I'm trying to find her to bring her back.
Who was this guy that was chasing
An
around?
Oriental fella in a Suburban.
Oh, okay. This is the driver or
yeah.
Him, you think?
Yeah. And with that, she bolted out and she ran around the side of the gatehouse, and she went down the other road. And he took off after her, and I ran back up on the deck. And when I did that, I waited for the police to come, and then I opened up the gate for the police to get in, and they came in, and they went down the road looking for her. And that was the last I saw her, because after that, my wife and I got in the car and I went up to Rhinebeck, New York, to a car show. And that's the only reason I was up at that time in the morning to begin with.
How emotional is this, knowing that you were perhaps the last person to see her alive?
It's not easy, let me tell you. I haven't slept a couple of nights because of it. I keep thinking about it. If I wasn't going away and going upstate, I would have been at home. I would have made sure she stayed. Unfortunately, it's not an easy thing to think about.
Why do you think she ran if you said you could help her out? Why would she just run off?
Why would she just run off?
If you said you could have called the police.
For obvious reasons. Now, at the time, I had no knowledge of why I figured there was no reason, but she had history, so that's probably the reason why she ran off.
But I've only found that out. Now? What are you thinking about Mr. Brewer?
I'm not going to get into that.
Gus, what happened last night? Did you see the officers doing what they were doing their investigation last night?
Yeah.
What did you see?
Last night, first off, I only could see when they come past my house and back. I saw the car go out when they towed the car out, and then I saw them shut down around 10 o'clock.
Did you see Mr. Brewer down there?
No, I didn't go down there and look. No.
Right.
No, I never left my house yesterday.
Gus, was that the same truck that came to your house that night?
No, it was not.
Gus, did you know Mr. Brewer before?
Yes.
What did you, any encounters with him before that?
Did I have any encounters?
Yeah.
No.
Any reputation in the neighborhood? Was he a party animal, or does anybody?
A few times he's had parties, yes. Other than that, I really don't know that much about him. He's not the type of neighbor that you regularly saw. I can tell you other neighbors, if they had a party, they'd let you know. Or they'd invite you. He wouldn't.
He had private parties, kind of?
Yeah.
Did he have a lot of women there? Did he have a lot of young guys?
I have no
there,
idea.
He's saying that it's not him, that he's not a serial killer, and that he passed a lie detector test. Any thoughts on that? Do you think?
Well, if he passed a lie detector test, I guess that's a plus in his favor, but then it seems strange why the police department would be at his house right now.
Why do you think they're at his house right now?
They're looking for information.
Do you think he is a serial killer?
Do I think he's... No.
Why not? I mean, like, what is it about him that tells you that he's not?
Nothing. I just don't think he is. That's all. But I don't think anybody is until it happens. I mean, let's face it. If we could go back, a lot of things would be different. I would have never let her out of my house, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. How long have you known Mr. Brewer?
About 8, 9 years.
8, 9 years. And he's been married, or girlfriends, or family?
He had a girlfriend for a while, and she left. And I think he had a child with her.
Can you just explain, Shannon, how she was that? I mean, was she terrified for her life, or what were you thinking?
No, I think she was either drunk or was on drugs, because I asked her a couple of times while she was standing there. I said, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" And she just stared at me like I wasn't there. And then when I called 911, she got very upset and took right off.
Gus, did you have any interaction with police last night? Did they come and ask you any questions? What did
No,
they say?
not last night.
Before?
Before? What did they?
Earlier this week?
Yes, Sunday afternoon they came by, and they told me they had found a skeleton, and that they wanted to go over the information that I had supplied them previous, and which was basically the same thing I'm telling you right now.
Did they tell you they thought it might be connected to Shannon Gilbert, the skeletal remains?
No, they didn't know.
Didn't say that.
But did you get a sense that she was afraid of Mr. Brewer? Was she running from that house because she was afraid of something?
She was afraid of someone.
She didn't mention any names.
No, she did not.
But it wasn't Mr. Brewer who came by looking for her later, right?
No, it was not. No, it was a Korean fella.
Thank you, Gus.
Thank you.
I can account for my whereabouts.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Is it Gustav?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you seen
with one L in Coletti?
Yes.
When was the last time you talked to Brewer?
Maybe 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gus, can you turn over this
Thank
way?
you.
Thank you.
Oh.
Kind of reiterate
Let them finish.
Who is the man who is having question right now?
Who's the man that...
Explain what you were just telling everybody.
Oh, they asked me who was driving the vehicle, and I said it was a Korean fella.
And who is that man? Do you know him?
No, I don't. I don't know his name. I've never... He came out looking for her again, and they walked through the whole association. They went from house to house. They were handing out pictures of the girl, asking anyone if they knew her whereabouts, which
did he seem
nobody
to be
did.
Controlling her, or what was?
I have no idea. My conversation with him, it was that, what are you doing? Why are you after her? And he didn't answer me. And he says, I just want to get her and bring her back to the party. And then he took, when he saw her running like I did, and she ran around the other side of the gatehouse, he took off after her.
Now, he said he called it a party, but were there lots of people there?
I have
just
no idea.
Brewer and this prostitute and
I don't
the driver?
know. I was not there, and I don't know.
You didn't hear a lot of noise?
No.
How do you know this girl?
Which girl?
So what was this man's
I didn't know either. I didn't know the girl.
What was this man's relation to her? Was it a client? Was it a friend of hers?
I don't know. I had no conversation with him other than, what are you doing? And he told me he was trying to get her and bring her back to the house. They were having a party.
How old was this guy? And
I would say in his early 30s.
And he was a Korean fellow.
Right.
And
he was Asian.
Asian is what he was.
Does he live in the neighborhood?
No, he's not. I had never seen him before.
And he had an SUV, you say?
Yes.
And you remember what kind of SUV?
No, I don't. It was still dark. It was, 4:45 in the morning.
Was it a Chevy Suburban?
It could have been.
And how did you know her again?
I didn't know her. I never knew her.
But you said that she was asking for help or something?
Yeah, she came to my house. She was banging on the door.
Oh, thanks. Behind the boat in your yard, she was hiding from this guy in the vehicle.
Yep.
So she seemed afraid of him.
Yep.
The Asian man.
Yes.
And he was upset when you told him you called the police.
Yes, he was.
What
He
did
said
he
you
say?
shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Because they're engaged in prostitution.
I guess that's the reason.
Right.
I don't know what.
Or something else.
Or whatever
was going on. But
Yeah.
she seemed to be afraid of him.
Yes, she was.
So she banged on your door and said, help me, and then what happened? Then what did she do?
I opened the door and she came in a couple of steps and she just stood there. And I said to her, "What's the matter?" She says, "Help me." And I asked her what was the matter again, and she didn't answer me. I said, "I'm calling the police." And I picked up the phone and I dialed 911, and she booked right out the door and ran down the steps.
What did she look like?
She was, I would say, probably in her middle 20s. She had light colored hair, and that's about it. She had a tank top. The rest, I couldn't tell you if she had sneakers on or shoes on.
She was petite, she was short.
She was small.
Thin.
But you said she had a vacant stare, like she was looking through.
Yeah.
Think drugs, maybe?
Could have been, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Okay.
Are you hoping police find out who did this?
I'm sure we will eventually.
You say you've been losing sleep over this.
Yeah, my wife and I are really troubled because I could have probably kept her there, but who knew,
No, you can't be psychic. You had no clue what was going on.
No.
And this is kind of a mystery here, isn't it?
It still is.
Because they haven't arrested this guy, your neighbor. The rumor is that he's claiming that he passed a lie detector test. He's not under arrest. So who did this? And is it even connected to these bodies? Seems very coincidental that 3.5 miles away there are 4 bodies.
Tell us about your neighbor. What kind of a guy is he?
I really don't know him that well. I had very little to do with him over the years.
Did you say the police are back in his house now?
Pardon me?
Did you say police are back in his house now?
No, I don't know if they are. I really don't know.
And was it known in the neighborhood that he had prostitutes over?
No.
You say he'd have parties, but he wouldn't invite other people.
Right. It was his own party, and his own friends, I would assume. I don't really know. The only thing I ever got from him was, as he would leave, he'd wave if I was outside.
You guys were sleeping when she knocked on your door?
No. We were awake and dressed, ready to leave. We were going up to Rhinebeck, New York, to the antique car show up there. That's the only reason I was up at that time in the morning.
So just to be clear, one of your neighbors was having a party.
A twist in the case of the bodies of 4 women found by a Long Island roadway. Police say forensics prove missing prostitute Shannon Gilbert is not one of the dead.
There are no suspects at this time.
State police have added 10 cadaver dogs to the search.
And we want to make sure we didn't miss anything.
They are scouring the area around Gilgo Beach where the bodies were discovered.
We're going to expand the search throughout that community over the next few days, and we're going to go over the same territory.
The focus of the investigation is on identifying the bodies.
But they are decomposed and visual identification is not possible.
Still many unanswered questions.
Are you able to tell yet how these women were killed?
No.
Police departments from other jurisdictions and states, as well as families of missing persons, have been contacting the Suffolk County PD. Ted Shaffrey, Associated Press, Long Island, New York. A twist in the case of the bodies of 4 women found by a Long Island roadway. Police say forensics prove missing prostitute Shannon Gilbert is not one of the dead.
There are no suspects at this time.
State police have added 10 cadaver dogs to the search.
And we want to make sure we didn't miss anything.
They are scouring the area around Gilgo Beach where the bodies were discovered.
We're going to expand the search throughout that community over the next few days, and we're going to go over the same territory.
The focus of the investigation is on identifying the bodies.
But they are decomposed and visual identification is not possible.
Still many unanswered questions.
Are you able to tell yet how these women were killed?
No.
Police departments from other jurisdictions and states, as well as families of missing persons, have been contacting the Suffolk County PD. Ted Shaffrey, Associated Press, Long Island, New York.